Hey, good evening everyone. I'm Shanmuka. I'm a bachelor technical degree holder in computer science engineering stream graduated in 2012 from JNTU, Kakinada. I'm currently working as senior software engineer in OTSI, Hyderabad for the client T-Mobile Sprint, who is the major telecom service provider in the US. And coming to my organization, OTSI, we are at the right transition partners who help you grab the exponential opportunities offered by the new age of digital transformation as technologists dedicated to solving business challenges. We simply processes so you can focus on doing your work faster and better. Our solutions, backed by today's most disruptive technologies, ensure positive business transformation. Our technical expertise into data analytics, quality analysis and automation, digital transformation, and emerging technologies. Um, our main core values, and we deeply involved and focused, that is we are customer centric, we are adapted and working in agile environment, we are employee friendly, business and technology driven, dependable on technology and independent network, we are collaborative. And coming to my project, that is PCMD, per call measurement data. Uh, Here I'm working as a data scientist, technically ETL, extract, transfer, and load the raw data. We are collecting data from uh, switches through telephone towers, get the user's voice data to measure call drops, signal connectivity, and strength. Send the processed data key performance indicators to downstream application. Then business intelligence team analyze and decide the call dips based on region traffic and improvise to provide customer centric service. Collecting this raw data based on vendors, those are Nokia, Ericsson, Samsung, Nortel, and the technologies included 1X, those are first, second, and third generations, CDMA, fourth generation voice data, and LTE, and emerging upcoming fifth generation. And my roles and responsibilities are part of ETL processing, that is collecting raw data from switches using Apache NiFi to Isilon, that is NFS network file system, using Java code, the ASCII parse to convert raw, that is binary data, into the international readable format, ASCII format, moving parsed files to HDFS, that is Hadoop distributed file system, and process the business requirement in Apache Spark, that is parallel and distributed processing, and also maintain the dimensions in Hive, the flavor of database. Handling Java code and automated to get the data from stream servers to the Teradata production servers. Every process of logs return into the MySQL database and final required fields moving into the downstream application, that is Teradata. We call it as a data warehousing. My role dive into verifying NiFi major disruptive emerging technologies, such as the first one is blockchain and the second one is Internet of Things. Okay, let's see the common definition of blockchain. A blockchain is constantly growing ledger that keeps a permanent record of all transactions that have taken place in a secure, chronological, and immutable way. So let's break this definition and consider the key terms here. First one is ledger. Ledger is, we know everyone, ledger is a account book to keep and save the day-to-day transactions in a row wise. So it is a constantly growing, and now the size is over 200 GB in size. and it is a permanent record of all transactions. The word immutable here describes permanent record of all transactions. Once one record entered into the blockchain network, it will never be modified and deleted. And it is a secure, that is here using hash functionality, number of copies distributed across the world, highly cryptography. A Bitcoin blockchain is a public transaction and it is in a chronological manner. So let's see what is a Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a virtual cryptocurrency transfer between two parties, that is peer-to-peer securely. To avoid the double spend problems, to eliminate intermediaries. So, and it is a completely decentralized network of computers. That is Bitcoin network using technology called blockchain. So we will completely go into the blockchain with cryptography. So some of the key concepts in blockchain and Bitcoin are: Bitcoin helps addresses the problem of double spending. Double spending is one of the key problems with sending money over the internet, and why there has traditionally been a need for third parties such as banks and other institutions. Bitcoin solves this issue. Sending Bitcoin to someone else doesn't need the services of a third party such as a bank or a credit card. Instead, you send Bitcoin directly to the other party over the internet securely. A Bitcoin is a type of digital asset that can be bought, sold, or transferred securely over the internet. Blockchain is a technology that underlies Bitcoin and which enables the transfer of a digital asset securely over the internet. And let's see how the Bitcoin blockchain is built. The role of a miner, we'll go detail. Here the functionality is a miner. The role of a miner is to build the blockchain of a records that form the Bitcoin ledger. A new block is added for every 10 minutes with a new transaction. Each block is linked to previous block to form chain of blocks. The Bitcoin block provides a permanent record of all transactions to the beginning of Bitcoin, known as Genesis block or zero block. Building a block. The context of the Bitcoin blockchain, how this ties in the role of miners. So here we go deeply about the miners. So here miners are actually in the process of building blocks, and these blocks are added to a blockchain to build out what the Bitcoin blockchain would be. Block is composed of block number. Block is composed of block number. It has a field of data, that is the actual information. This information we converted, that it has a cryptographic hash associated with it, and you have what's called a nonce. Nonce is a number once used for that block, and for practical purposes has corresponding to the nonce. Hash value leading with 4 zeros and check against nonce to validate the block. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency using hash functionality, such as on the here they are using SHA, secure hash algorithm, and this was developed by the NSA, National Security Agencies. SHA-256 is a type of hash functionality used in the Bitcoin. What makes SHA-256 hash functionality fascinating? Creating a message digest of one specific amount of data right here. Hashes are one-way functions, means that you can generate a hash from this entire text and you will have this bottom hashes or one-way functions, means is that you can generate a hash from this entire text. Here text represents the information or value part of the Bitcoin, and you will have this bottom hashes, but there is no way to get back original entire text by generated one hash. This is different from what would be traditionally called encryption, which when you encrypt something you can using the right key to decrypt that message and retrieve the original. But with the hash you don't a hash generate a unique fingerprint that can't be reversed back to the original amount. It is a one-way directional completely. In traditional the encryption and decryption, what the data we encrypt based on some signature, and using some signature again we can decrypt that message. But here in the concept of Bitcoin, it's completely one-way directional. That means you can't retrieve or decrypt the originally encrypted message. This is very secure in the form of digital wallet Bitcoin transaction. If any character entered into the data field as message digested and change the value of hash and leave 4 zeros changed, and it is not a valid block. That means a valid block starts with leading 4 zeros. If you try to alter the data, the 4 leading zeros will be changed. That means the block breaking. Nonce. It is number used once. It is basically a random number that is used for figuring out how you can actually makes this specific block give you a valid hash. The valid hash provided by the miner functionality. So let's see what is a mine. Mine means putting a computer functionality to actually figure out what is the correct nonce that will give you a hash that will have those 4 zeros at the beginning. So this is the whole concept of how cryptography ties into assembling a block and making sure that a block is valid within a blockchain. So I would like to demonstrate how a distributed blockchain works. So let's see. Bitcoin actually is thousands of copies of the same exact blockchain distributed across thousands of full nodes across the Bitcoin network. So every Bitcoin record is a distributed manner and stored worldwide across Bitcoin network for such a number of copies. So we can't delete, we can't modify the Bitcoin transaction, and it is completely secure. In case of Bitcoin, it would be however many hundreds or thousands of transactions that would be in the block. A block would be considered of hundreds or thousands of transactions. Every block is linked to the previous block. Here this is the concept. Every block, that is first block, is linked to the second block. Example, block 2 has value carried out to block 1 has value carried out to block 2, block 2 value has carried out to block 3, previous value and block 3 generated new hash value based on data provided with mine. SHA-256 is a type of cryptographic function which is used in Bitcoin. A nonce is a number that is used only once as part of the mining process in Bitcoin. Block is a blockchain. Blocks in a blockchain are linked to each other through the process of cryptographic hashing. So let's see demo how block hashes work in a blockchain. So first one, block 1, that is considered as zero block, doesn't have a previous value hash, so it doesn't associate it with, so therefore the value is 0. Block 0 doesn't have a previous value, so block 0 doesn't associate with anyone. But in block 2 it has the hash related to hash in previous block, that is a block 1. Block 2 contains the block 1 hash value. In block 3 is making reference to the hash from block number 2. Blockchain is such a brilliant invention. It is so simple that it basically works like a domino effect. If you break a block, it simply tears down the whole structure to the front. More hashing power means that the difficulty level needs to go up, and the difficulty level is adjusted every 2 weeks to make sure that the computers that are actually competing to try to solve those cryptographic problems take approx a total of 10 minutes to mine a new block. Here I would like to discuss again. More hashing power is the concept. More hashing power means difficulty level needs to go up, means we are tightening more securely the entire block. So now figuring out the required nonce to come up with a cryptographic hash that will be less than required target for the difficulty level. If someone trying to tamper the particular block, they would need to have at least 51% of the hashing power in their network to be able to validate. This is how the sheer elegance of a blockchain, making it so easy to make it visually accessible that somebody has tampered with any block, makes it so incredibly powerful. Each block is cryptographically hashed and includes the hash from the previous block as a part of the hash. This makes it very easy to see if anyone has tampered with any block, as changing the value of a hash for a block will automatically break the chain and make all the other blocks after that block invalid. If the block is invalid, then you cannot do any transactions. And let's see the 4 main components of Bitcoin. The 4 components of Bitcoin ties together to make Bitcoin possible. First one is software. Basically, software that defines what a Bitcoin is as well as how a Bitcoin gets transferred. As its core uses cryptography. Here we are using the cryptography to computing a strong, secure encryption in a one direction way. No one can decrypt again. And once the transaction entered into the ledger, we can't modify. That is immutable. Second is a cryptography. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and it uses cryptography to regulate the transfer of Bitcoin between two parties, as well as the creation of new units of Bitcoin. And hardware. Here hardware is composed of thousands of miners. Miner is nothing but a computable machine with network around the world running their computers. Thousands of computers around the world that are basically running the Bitcoin software or Bitcoin client, rather it's the same thing. So the point is, all this software is running on a network of thousands of computers around the world which form this hardware component. The fourth one is gaming theory. Bitcoin in essence is truly a game that is run by these miners around the world. Okay, coming to the second disruptive emerging technology, that is IoT. Here I would like to give a brief about the IoT, how we develop in my organization OTSI, develop an application, and that is a pilot project. And that IoT project is Abhayam. Abhayam is India's first Internet of Technology based pilot project on women's safety and security, launched in Andhra Pradesh state by Honorable Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy on November 23, 2020. Abhayam enables women's safety and security while traveling in private taxis and auto rickshaws. To begin with, the pilot launch will cover 5 million citizens with an overall scope to cover 20 plus million citizens with 1 lakh IoT devices, where each device will be installed in every commute taxi or auto rickshaw. OTSI is very glad to associate with this prestigious IoT project in helping the national social cause using the most advanced technologies like IoT digital technology stack. OTSI thanks federal and the Andhra Pradesh state government for taking such an initiative for women's safety and security. And OTSI is looking forward to scale this project to the other cities in Andhra Pradesh state and other states across India. AP government also on trial basis around 1000 auto rickshaws or taxis, they fix IoT devices and also printed QR codes on vehicles to get the vehicle and driver information and initiate the trip. Let's see what is Abhayam. Abhayam is completely an enabling women's safety and security application while traveling in private taxis or auto rickshaws. Passengers mobile application. This Abhayam passengers mobile application available for both Android and iOS users platforms. Just they can log in with their mobile number and validate using the one-time password. And the second is add emergency contacts to alert if any distress occurs. And the third one is scan the QR code or enter the vehicle numbers. That is, verify the driver details and vehicle details with the actual driver who is on the vehicle. Google Maps loaded, in which your location is where you boarded the auto rickshaw or taxi. Enter the destination location under where to go section and then click on start trip. Trip is started, and if you want to share your location, you can simply click S. The live movement of the location where your vehicle is visible along with the driver and vehicle details. If any distress, that is panic situation, happens during the journey, press the bell icon which displays on your Abhayam app, and you will receive a message saying an alert is sent to the police command control center, and the same is notified to your emergency contacts which you have saved earlier. The vehicle will be stopped. The passenger and driver will receive a call from the support team, and the police will reach the location. Once after you reach your destination, you can end the trip. Here, OTSI purpose of doing business is to make the latest technology available for the last person in the community. Abhayam is an initiative to empower our mothers, sisters and daughters in our nation to commute without fear or with the sense of protection, and that made us take up such a large challenging project and deliver. How money transfer over the internet in a traditional approach. How money is sent over the internet, that is sending money over the web. Here third party involvement is there. A third party such as bank or credit card or other institutions control the transfer and keeps the record of transaction at sender side, receiver side and third party side. Here the transactions are recorded centralized in three ways. There is no easy mechanism because to need prevent what is called double spending and need to certify that there was an actual transfer value. The third party controls the entire transfer. Bank keeps a copy of transaction in their database. They are doing a transfer to another bank, then the other bank also keeps a record in their DB. This is completely different how Bitcoin do the things. Here the Bitcoin concept is peer-to-peer transaction directly over the internet. Such as instead of using third party, entire Bitcoin network takes that place. So network takes care of confirming and verifying that there was a true transfer of value between the two parties. Here network is the Bitcoin network, which is completely secure, immutable records, cryptographically each record secure. So networks takes care of confirming and verifying that there was a true transfer of value between the two parties. This concept is called being disintermediated. This intermediation is the act of removing the middleman. Here Bitcoin is distributed. Bitcoin is decentralized. No centralized authority work across thousands of computers across Bitcoin network. Bitcoin is trustless. There is no need to certify. Bitcoin transactions enable trust, called distributed trustless consensus. So here this is up to the Bitcoin. Let's see the another concept, that is smart contracts, working the concept of blockchain. So Bitcoin is the underline of blockchain, and second Bitcoin is for the fund transfers, and the second one is smart contracts. That is how blockchain disrupts the technology in the field of agreement between the two parties. That is called smart contracts. Let's see. An asset in being able to exchange it above and beyond and take it to the whole new level. Smart contracts allow you to take the same type of functionality of assigning a value and assigning different conditions to it, so that you can actually work the whole exchange of something of value stand needs a third party such as a broker, or needs some sort of bank to be involved in this transaction of value to buy house, because multiple parties involved and you need one centralized location to handle the processing of the transaction. That's why we had the whole concept of banks are in the middle of any type of financial transaction. Bitcoin revolutionized and allows you to do a peer-to-peer transfer of currency and value over the internet. For other things also, we have defined that to create a colored coin or a blockchain token of any type of property such as real estate asset. Smart contracts. Let's see the concept of smart contracts. Same concept of Bitcoin applies to money by disintermediating the process of any type of contractual obligation. This is disintermediation. Once you get the premise that you can build value and type it onto a blockchain, and you can actually transfer value digitally by using a blockchain, you can expand beyond that and give it all the agreements and the different requirements of a contract and have it all automated. This is automation. A smart contract is nothing more than a computer program that takes all the concepts of what a contract would do and it automates that and builds it on a blockchain, because it's running On a blockchain, the program will actually be self-executing and it's immutable. Means you can rely on the contractual obligations to be done automatically, and you don't have worry about the fact that a third party may tamper with it, or that they may be subject to a malicious hacking or anything along those sides. It also reduces cost, so no middle man, because you don't have to pay a third party to process this. It's all handled conveniently by a single contractual program that runs it. So let's see the value of blockchains, the birth of smart contracts. Smart contracts is one of the most exciting areas in the spaces of blockchain. Nick Szabo, father of smart contracts. A smart contract is a computerized transaction protocol that executes the term of a contract. The general objectives are to satisfy common contractual conditions such as payment terms, lines, confidentiality, and even enforcement, minimizing exceptions, both malicious and accidental, and minimize the need for trusted intermediaries. Related economic goals include lowering fraud loss, arbitrations and enforcement costs, and other transaction costs.